Hi, my name is Kimatina. Welcome to the Sweet Talk. I am your host. I am a Google certified trainer and a Gold product expert in the Google for Education, CS First, and Jamboard Help Forums. Today, I am going solo. I want to talk to you about tidying up your Google Classroom for the end of the year before you break for school. So I just want to give you a few recommendations. You don't have to do all of these things. It's just really to make you aware that some of these things will help you stay organized and clean up your interface and all of your information so that you can start the next school year on a fresh, clean slate. Other people may give you different suggestions. So if you have a different idea, or if you have a different suggestion that someone else recommended, please leave your suggestions in the comments in the video below. I would love to hear what other people are doing to tidy up their Google Classroom. So first, what I want to say is that when you're in Google Classroom, actually, let me share my screen. Okay. So right now I'm in Google Classroom, and I'm going to use this practice class as a demo for the show today. So I'm going to go into the practice class. And the first thing that you want to do is make sure you grade and return all of the work back to the student, so that they become the owner of the documents that they turned into you. So in order for you to do that, the easiest way is to go into the to-do list. So if you hit the three-line menu and go into the to-do menu option in the menu, you will see all of the assignments that you returned. You'll see the status of the assignment for the students as well. You can go into the to review or the reviewed area, and you can see which classes. You can filter out a specific class if you want, any archive classes. But basically, you're going to stay on the to review page. And if you find an assignment that you still need, that is still open, you're just simply going to click on that assignment, and you're going to check off the students that need that assignment returned to them. And you're basically going to make sure there's a grade in there as well. And you're just going to click on the return button. So you definitely want to make sure that all of your assignments are returned to the students so that they get control back of any documents that they turned in to you in Google Classroom. So that's the first thing that I want to go over with you. The second suggestion is to go into the people page and to remove any students that is really not going to be in your class anymore. So you would go into the people page here, and under the student area, you can actually select all by putting a check in the first or the top checkbox and click in actions and then hit remove. And that's actually going to remove them from your class. You definitely want to do this so that they don't have access to your class anymore, and that they can't, depending on the permissions that you gave them, they can't comment or post as well. So you definitely want to remove any students from your class. The next thing that I recommend doing is archiving your class. So in order to archive, you're going to go back to the class card page. And the class card page is really the first main screen that shows all of the classes that you either teach or enrolled in. And you're going to click on that three-dot menu, and you're going to click archive. And when you click archive, it's going to take that class and make it really inactive. And so that anybody that has access to it really can't, they can't comment in there, they can't post anything in there. It's just really there for your reference in case you want to reuse any posts. You can do that from an archive class. So you definitely want to make sure you archive any classes that you're not using. And I'm going to show you what happens when you archive. I don't want to archive this class. Well, actually, I'll archive it. So I click the three-dot menu. I click archive. And now my class is archived. That's how quick it takes. And if I want to view that archive class, I click on the three-line menu up at the top left. And down here on the right side, or excuse me, on the left side at the bottom, it says archive classes. I can click on that archive classes option. And these are all the classes that I have archived. I didn't delete them. I just archived them. And like I said, when I archive a class, I can still reuse posts from this class into an active class. If I want to delete the class, I have to click on the three-dot menu and I can delete the class here. And that's totally going to remove the class from your dashboard. This option is not recoverable, so make sure you're definitely aware of this and that you want to make sure that you don't need any material in there, because once you delete it, it's not recoverable. I can restore this class. So if I wanted to take this class out of archive, I can restore it. And once I restore it, it's going to go back into the dashboard where the class cards are. So if I click on the three-line menu and go to classes, there is my practice class displayed in my dashboard. So you can archive a class and you can keep it archived because it will still be there. You can reuse posts, but if you permanently want to delete the class, you have that option. If you want to restore the class after you archive it, you have that option too. Just make sure you're aware that if you delete the class, it's not recoverable. So that's that tip. The next tip that I want to show you is the Google Drive folder. So I'm going to open up my Google Drive, and you can see whenever you join a class or you create a class, there's a classroom folder that gets created automatically by the application. So I'm going to click on that folder. And in the subfolders, there's going to be different classes that you created or classes that you joined. These folders do not get removed when you archive or delete a class. You have to manually go into Drive and you have to delete these folders if you want to. So you can see here, if I go back into my archive section, I'm going to go back into my archive classes. And you can see here, I have a math class that's archived. Okay. If I go into Google Drive, you can see that there's still a Drive folder for that class. It's called Math Period 3. It didn't do anything with the folder. So if I delete that class out of my Google Classroom, I'm going to delete that class. So I'm going back into Google Classroom. Going into the archive classes, I hit the three dots for my math period 3, and I'm going to delete that class. So now that class is going to totally be removed from my dashboard in Google Classroom. Now when I go back into Drive, let me refresh. Math period 3, the Drive folder still is there. So you have to be aware that you have to manually go into your Drive and remove any folders that are linked to your deleted Google Classrooms or even your archived classes. So since I deleted this class, I'm going to highlight the Drive folder and I'm going to remove it. Now, if you wanted to, what you can do in Drive is you can create a school year 18-19 archive class folder. So I'm going to do that. Because you may not want to delete the folders. You may just want to organize them into a subfolder called the school year. and then archive classes. So if I wanted to, what I can do is I can simply just click on the folder that pertains to that class that's archived, and I can drag it into my school year 18-19 archive classes folder. And that way, that's another way of keeping your drive organized, because if you're teaching multiple classes, and if you're enrolled in multiple classes, and if you're not archiving any old classes, your drive folders in the classroom folder is going to be huge, and it's going to be unmanageable, and you're not going to know which class folder pertains to which active classrooms in your dashboard. So you can create an archive folder for that school year and throw all of your archived folders for that class into your archived class folder. Whew, this is like confusing. I hope you're not confused. If you don't need those folders, then you can simply just delete them. So it's up to you. It's a preference, how important those drive folders are for those classes. If you don't think you need them, you can certainly delete them. If you want to hold on to them, create a subfolder in the classroom folder in Drive, call it archived school year 18-19, and throw that and copy that folder or move that folder into that archive folder. So you can definitely do that. Another thing that I want to show you is back in Google Classroom. Now I'm back in Google Classroom, and I'm going to go into my practice, excuse me, practice class. I'm going to click on the classwork page. And the next thing is that I wanted to show you is your Google Calendar. So every time you create a class, a Google Calendar gets created for that class. And again, if you don't manage your calendars, you're going to have a whole list of calendars here for all of your classes that you belong to. So you can actually go into Google Calendar, and you can, hover over the calendar that you want to work with, click the three-dot menu, and you have an option here. You can hide it from the list. So if you hide it from the list, you can get it back if you go into the settings, which is the gear up at the top right. And you can see right here on the left side, I have settings for my calendars. You can see that my practice class is hidden. So if I toggle on that practice class, now that practice class will show in my calendar list. So if I go back to my calendar, and there it is. So you can hide it or you can delete it. If I want to delete the calendar, to be careful, because this action is not recoverable again. So you have to make sure you definitely want to delete that calendar. Make sure you don't need it, because you cannot get it back once you delete it. So if I hover over the calendar, I can click the three-dot menu. And again, there's hide from list. But if I want to delete it, I can go to settings and sharing. And up here, make sure I'm on the demo class calendar. I can scroll down, and at the bottom, there's a delete option. And it tells me here the calendar will be permanently erased. Nobody will be able to use it anymore. It's not recoverable. So make sure you definitely want to delete it. Again, I usually hide my calendars. I don't delete them, because you never know. You may need to reference something later on, maybe about an assignment, or how long you gave students time to do that assignment. So me personally, I would just hide it. And another thing that you may want to do, I know a lot of people, they use bookmarks. So they may have bookmarked some classrooms up at the top. So if you did bookmark, let me bookmark this one here. So if you did bookmark your Google Classroom, okay, you're going to have to remove that bookmark, because if you archive the class or delete the class, that bookmark is going to be invalid. So you're going to definitely want to delete that bookmark as well. So up in the in Chrome, my bookmark is on my bookmark bar, and I find my bookmark and I can right click on it and I can simply click delete. And that way, that classroom is removed from your bookmark bar or your bookmark folder, whatever you do, however you organize your bookmarks. And that way, no one can access your classroom. So those are the tips that I think would help people clean up their Google Classroom. So those are some tips that I think would be helpful for people to clean up Google Classroom. So again, let me just recap without sharing my screen. You want to make sure that you return all of the work to the students. So make sure that everything has a grade on it, return everything back to the students so that they become the owners of the document. And you can do that in the to-do list to see the status of the assignments. The next thing is you want to unenroll or remove students from your class. So you can do that in the people page and select the students that you want to actually remove from your class. The next thing you can do is archive your old classes. Remember, when you archive your classes, they just are removed from your dashboard, but you can continue to reuse posts from those archived classes. And if you didn't remove any students from those archived classes, they become inactive. They cannot do anything, and there's no activity that would be recorded in there. They don't have the ability to do that. The next thing that you would want to do is you would want to remove any drive folders that are in that classroom main folder. Don't delete the main classroom folder. Make sure you do not do that, because that main classroom folder is associated with Google Classroom. Okay, you want to delete any subfolders that refer to your class in that main classroom folder. So you can actually delete the folders, or you can create a subfolder called Archive Classes 1819, and you can move those folders into that archive folder. So basically, that's like a two-parter. The Google Calendar, you can either hide the Google Calendar for the Google Classroom, or you can delete the Google Calendar. If you hide the Google Calendar, you can get it back and you can see it in your list. If you delete the Google Calendar, it's not recoverable. So be aware and use caution with that. And the last one was you can delete any old Google Classroom bookmarks from your bookmark bar, or in your folders in your bookmark manager. You can delete any favorites that refer to any classes that you're wrapping up. So that's it. I think those are really good tips. If anybody uses or does anything different, please share your comments in the video below in the comment link. I'll leave it open because I would like to hear how other people are tidying up their Google Classrooms for the school year. So that's it. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.